Black Compass Media back live with another one. Shout out to everybody out there right now. Tone Bro checking in on behalf of the whole team. We out here, man. Salute to the whole society. My man, the bar guy, Cola, everybody, man. I'm not going to waste y'all time with a long intro, but make sure you subscribe to everything that we got going on. And shout out to all the people who've been rocking with us, who've made the podcast very successful. This has been a great 2 months. These last 2 months, Spotify, iTunes, things of that nature have been great. I know a lot of y'all going back to work. People get to listen to this. This is made for you to be able to listen to and see. Definitely want to see today, because today I have a sister from the West Coast. You know how y'all give it up. The sun is out there shining. You know what I'm saying? It's nice herbs out there and things of that nature. But the lady I have coming up here is great because she has substance, she has conscience. She's the term woke gets overused and things like that, but there's a certain conscience to the way she spits. I'm glad she's back in the ring, things like that. The West Coast stand up, West Coast elites. Now, who I have here, you see the poster, you see the thumbnail. I have none other than Sistar Outspoken herself. What's up?
Hey everybody.
I feel like I should be snapping right now. Real black soapish, but make sure y'all subscribe to things like that. But SO Finesse, how's everything going? Talk to me. What's up?
Everything is going pretty good. I went through a lot of ups and downs over the last year or two, and I'm in the higher point of that right now. So I'm just trying to enjoy and taking all the lessons that I learned and embody the wisdom. So that's where I'm at.
Embody the wisdom. All right, so we get into higher points, higher plateaus, and things of that nature. Now, as far as the West, I want to start off on the West and things like that. But I want to talk about you too, because this is our first time on this type of sync up. You know what I'm saying? And for me,
let's go.
Especially when I'm talking to ladies, and especially when I'm trying to figure out like where you come from, what the influences were. What type of things are we into? Now, I see we dropped the finesse from our name, but I want to know, when we was back SO Finesse, what got us into hip hop? Like, what's up? What got you into this?
What got me into hip hop, like as in general?
Into battle rap. I'm gonna take this hip hop thing and I'm gonna form it into battle rap. What were the influences? What got you to this point?
Okay, what got me to battle rap? So I wish I could say that I was in the battle rap my whole life and I always watched battle rap and this and that. That's not a fact. I actually got into battle rap. One of the first battles that I even saw was Lex versus Calico. I was in the kitchen and my brother was like, "Look, they battling like this. Like, look at this dude with the suit on. Like, listen to him." And coming from a spoken word background, it was like, whoa, like you can get out there like that. Like, And then I told the story a few times, but what actually got me into battle rap. So I wasn't always the person that I am today. And a lot of people would be actually very shocked to even experience me 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Really?
Yes, just like people who did experience me in that time are shocked at the person that I am today. I get hit ups all the time, like, "Oh my God, you have grown so much." Like, how? Sure. But during the time I started battle rapping, I was hustling like real hard. I was in the streets. And the day that I saw my first female battle, I was burnt. I was really burnt out that day. This guy owed me some money. And I had went to his house to go check him about the money or whatever. He was acting stupid, and I was doing nuts in his. Like, I feel so bad because it was his granny's house. You know, when you a little bit younger, people don't have their own house yet. I was doing donuts in his granny yard, but she actually was like, "Get his ass." You know what I'm saying? Because her. You know, and she trying to play you. Like, she was a cool granny, you know?
Right.
But so I did all that.
This is some real West Coast shit, by the way, that you talk about. This is some real like West, like you doing donuts doing donuts in front of granny crib.
Like vehicle. I was so burnt out. Like, I think about stuff I did, and it's like, dang, I was so burnt out. And that's why I can be patient with some of the burnt out shit, because I understand where it's coming from. It wasn't even have nothing to do with me, really. Even at that time, like, I used to trip a lot because of other things that was going on in my life. You know, but anyway, so he was talking about people he was about to bring through the hood and all of that. So I went to the homie house. Like, look, Whoopsie Whoop talking about they're gonna bring some people from their hood over here. So I just want you to know, and da. Well, it just so happened when I pulled up that day, the Kid Clutch. Shout out to the Kid Clutch.
Shout out to Kid Clutch.
Because he just so happened to be there at the homie house that day, and he was watching Queen of the Ring battles, and he was preparing to try out for LA Battlegrounds. And he was talking about he liked watching the girls because sometimes they just get more gritty and more like the content is a little bit more vast. Yeah. So and then how they construct their bars, like things that they talk about. So it feels more challenging to watch them. So he pulled it up and we was watching it, and I'm watching these girls and I'm like, dang, like this is crazy. Like I could do this. Like, you know, but I didn't say nothing out loud. Right. And I was walking my dog like the next day, and one of my homies pulled up on me. Shout out to Doe Burger. He pulled up on me. He was like, JP, because like in the neighborhood, everybody call me JP. Yeah. He was like, JP, and I'm like, what's up? And he like, shit, right? It was these girls, and they was rapping, and they was like battling or some shit, and it was like Queen of the something, and I was like Queen of the Ring, and he's like, yeah, he's like, you can do that shit, JP. Right.
This is real transcription right here. I feel like I'm there. Like I was this in Carson? This is in Carson. The homie pulled up.
Yes. Okay. Like
right.
And it was so crazy. It was like the next day, so I just felt like it was all in alignment. And he only knew he felt like I could do it because people already knew I did poetry, and I spit different in how I spit my spoken word. And then I used to rap. Like I didn't make a whole lot of songs myself because I didn't care about being a rapper. But like everybody would put me on the track as the female voice. Like they just wanted a female verse. Okay. So when you would go to the studio, like it'll be people would play songs and you randomly hear me coming to speakers and stuff. So he knew I could rap. So he was like, "You could do it, JP." I'm like, "All right." Like that was my like verification in my head. Like I'm gonna write something. I'm gonna see, you know. And then the next time I saw him, we was sitting down, we was smoking and stuff, and I was like, I got a 16. I got something, you know, for a battle, you know, whatever.
Yo, this is the funniest origin story. Like I'm like right there. I'm right there with you. So you come back and you giddy. So he like that first 16 is a moment, right? Like that first so one.
He like spit that shit, JP. So I spit that shit, and he told me the funniest shit ever. Cause damn, my phone already about to die. I'm about to pull this up over here. And he told me the funniest shit ever. He was like, so you like, I hear you, you know, like I could tell you got the pistol, you know, like you showing it. But them bitches gonna come out already busting. You gotta come out already busting, JP. You can't just show them you got a gun. And it's my first 16 ever. So I was like, all right, I got it right there. Like, okay, I have to like get to the point. Because in poetry, you have time to create a storyline and then come to it. So I'm like, okay, the difference between rap and poetry is painting a picture and rap is taking a picture. So I'm like, okay, cool. And then we go inside to go smoke with everybody. And it was like the rappers of the community was in there. You know what I mean? Like Absol was in there from TDE, like the homie Jinx, if y'all don't know him, like he been rapping forever, he hard. Like some other homies in there was that rap was in there. And before we went inside, I told him, I'm like, but don't tell nobody though. Like, you know, I don't.
You was trying to keep it low. It was still in that like fake embarrassed, like
you know, like I wasn't trying to get that pressure yet, and I didn't know. I internally, I really didn't know if I was gonna do it or not. I was just like fucking around. Yeah. And we walk inside, and I swear to you, he was like, hey, I know somebody that's gonna do Queen of the Ring. And I'm listening and I'm listening to like, who is he talking about? Because we just talked. Like,
you just
like this was our secret.
He didn't even know what it was before. You know what? Okay, go ahead. He didn't even know.
Huh?
He didn't even know it was Queen of the Ring till you told him. He was like, yeah, what's that? Like you had to tell the homie what it was.
But they was actually watching it. Like this is who he was watching it with. Like they was actually fans of it. Okay. So it was like it hit the city at the same time or something, and like everybody was watching it or something. So then he was like, he was like, I know somebody, y'all, and then like, he was like, guess who gonna go to Queen of the Ring? I'm listening like, oh shit, somebody about to go to Queen of the Ring. And then they like who? And he like JP. And I'm like,
yo, he put you right in the. He put like, what do you say in that moment?
And they like,
everybody looking.
My little 16, like, right? But they went crazy and they gave me so much support and was like, man, you need to do that shit. Like, you different. Like, you could give it something different. Like, do that shit, JP. Do that shit. And I was like, damn, now I gotta do that shit. So, it's not like you could just go to Queen of the Ring. You have to find a place to battle rap. So I just typed in online, like, battle rap in LA. And I found LA Battlegrounds. Right. And where the homies was already talking about they was going to try out. So I just had they didn't even know I was going to try out. Like, Beast will tell you he didn't know nothing. I hit up Beast and Clutch and was like, so I got a friend.
Wait, Beast Gatlin, host with the most. Get your dumb ass smoke. That's Beast Gatlin, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Shout out to him.
We went to middle school together. Everybody that's in death certificate is connected. It's a family. We connected over time. Even if some of us wasn't as close when we were younger or whatever, everybody's connected. Like, I went to elementary school with RX. Like, everybody's connected. Yes, we went to elementary school.
Not elementary.
That's how I met her. That's how
RX seemed like the type with like the 64 box of crayons. I got the 8. She don't want to let me hold a couple crayons. Like, she stingy with the crayons is what I'm trying to ask.
Like, I don't know. We weren't even in the same class. We weren't even in the same class. We were just in the same grade. Okay. And we always had love, And so anyway, long story short, I hit the people up. They never hit me back. And then a week before tryouts, they hit me up like, are you ready? And I'm like, ready for what? Like, who is this again? And they was like, oh, tryouts next week. Like, you ready? You hit us up, so you must got something. You ready?
Right.
Y'all never hit me back. Like, no, I'm not ready. And he was like, oh, well, your opponent is ready. And I'm like, my opponent? I have an opponent?
Yeah, they already had you set up. Yeah.
So I was like, man, I don't know. Like, I can't, this is my first time. Like, I don't want to go last minute. Like, it's like 7 days. Like, what? Like, no. Like, I was like tripping out, like really tripping out. Like, I don't know if I could do this. And then I was like, can I at least know who they are? Do they know who I am? And then so he gave me her Twitter or whatever. And I went to her Twitter and she was talking big shit. Like, big shit. Like,
what would you say? What type of on that?
Like I kill these black bitches and me being in the state that I was in life at that time, it was exactly what I needed. Like, I wrote my shit in like 15 minutes. Like, it was only 90-second rounds. Like, it was like, oh, you gonna whoop my ass. You gonna kill me.
It was up. The energy was up. Yeah.
Right? And I wrote better shit that day than when you go online and you see my first battle that's actually online. My battle was better than that.
Wow.
From somebody really talking shit to me. And I knew that if I had it written by that Tuesday, I could spit it and have it together by Saturday, because just a little bit in my background, I wasn't the spoken word artist that was in the poetry lounge. I had did this one competition, and this lady saw me in the competition. She took me under her wing and was sending me out to work for nonprofits and different organizations. Shout out to Sadie Kimbrough, rest in peace. She was she ran the Carson Black Chamber of Commerce.
That's crazy.
So she made me the youth ambassador for the Black Chamber of Commerce, and I used to go and do like motivational speaking and just talk about different things going on in the community, and try to uplift myself and us. But she liked that I talked about the streets. Like, I wasn't just coming in there like, we need to do this and we need to do that.
You wasn't
like, I saw this person die yesterday, and it made me feel like this. And I started looking in his eyes as his breath left. So whoopty, why we need to do this. So we get less of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was coming from a real place that some of them kids wasn't even, experiencing. Right. And they was young. And we did a lot of like teaching with financial literacy. Like I had my own nonprofit when I was like 16 years old.
Wow.
So we was like, I was working. Like that was
Wait. You had your own nonprofit at 16?
Yeah, it was called Big Picture.
Okay, hold on.
And we taught,
tell you I'm ISO. This is an ISO screen. Tell us about the nonprofit at 16. We're not about to glance over that.
Yeah. So it was called Big Picture Inc. And what we did was, so because I was working in a community, I knew so many people. Like people would like, when it comes, this is what I tell my son too. When it comes to working with older people, if you want to do something in life and you just know what you want to do, they will support you. Especially people who are part of organizations and who is doing stuff because they want to be a part of that growth. They want to be like, okay, I was a part of that story. You know what I mean? I was a part of helping this person be their best self. So I saw that and I'm like, man, I'm looking at the homies and I'm like, man, the homies not going to make it. Like, if we don't do something, like, the homies is not going to make it. Like, they need to know they gifts. They need to know their strengths. They need to get this information that I'm getting. I'm inviting them to these events that I go to. They're not coming. Like, what I'm going to do? Like, I don't want to lose my homies. Like, you know, so I started the nonprofit. Of course, I was helped, but they were taught how to start a business. We had a whole program that helps you learn what your strengths were. So you knew what to go to college for or what path you should take. We did health and wellness. And that was pretty much like the gist of it as far as it had gotten. And it was just like, it was hard to get people to really be like committed, you know, but the people who did, they did benefit from it. But I did end up still losing a lot of my homies because they wasn't into that. They wasn't into that. When I was 17, I lost all my friends.
Wow.
Lost all my friends. Like, people died and everybody went to jail. So when I was 17 years old, I started completely over in life. And my associates, I had to promote to friends and they never really had fit that bid. So, you know, and even my son's father.
That's real. When you give the associates that promotion and they ain't ready for that promotion, that's real. That's real.
And I had to learn that the hard way. I really had to learn that the hard way. I'm still reiterating those lessons today. You know, like, you have to know where to put people. Everybody's they're not your friend. Like, you know, like, they're not somebody that you can trust with everything.
Yeah.
You know, you got to put people where they are and deal with them where they are. But at 17, I lost all my friends. And so I attached to somebody that, even though, you know, I did have, you know, my associates, like I said, that I made friends, but my son's father was one of them because he's somebody that I knew since I was 10 years old. So we had started hustling together. We get money, we together. And like, I gave him a shot, you know, because I to this day, like, even though I don't really deal with him like that, I will give him his just due in being one of the most intelligent people I've ever met in my entire life. And to this day, like, the kind of dating that we did and the conversations that we had when we was 17 years old, not ain't a dope man that has done that with me yet. And I'm in my early 30s now. So he was way ahead of his time. He knew how to plan. He knew how to play things out. And I respected him for that. And I trusted, like, let's do this. You know, but dang, what was the point why did I bring him up? It was a point.
Well, it's a segue, but I think it's the you're kind of getting into the battle rap thing because you talked about the nonprofit and how that affected you and your state of being at the time, which I think
losing all my friends.
But then you lost all the homies, and then now,
so I'm about to get.
And then you start to transition into.
So I'm going a little bit backwards now. Yeah. This is part of the story that even led into that made me need the therapy that battle rap became. I had no idea it was going to be my therapy. I never came into battle rap wanting to be the best battler ever. And maybe that's why I'm not where some of the ladies are that's been in the game as long as me. It was my therapy. It was my freedom. It got me out of bullshit. And that's really what it was. And so anyway, that's how my son was born, because he became my best friend. You know, that was somebody I trusted and I did business with, and that I trusted to ride with every day. And when he went to jail and that kind of fell off or whatever, I was just kind of out here. And then when that happened, and then when I had my first battle, that feeling of getting that shit out.
Yeah. Like, talk about it. Talk about it.
I needed that. And I wasn't even talking about my story yet. Like, to be completely honest, I just started really putting my story in battle rap like 4 battles ago. I used to just do clever shit and one-liners and just be
Was you
creative.
reluctant? Was you reluctant to put your story out there? Was it too much?
I didn't want people in my business. And I was still dealing with my story. It was a lot of things that I didn't even know that I didn't deal with until my late king, Young B the Future, was killed and he passed away.
Rest in peace, Young B the Future, man.
In the midst of dealing with that grief of that death, I ended up dealing with everything. I saw a psychotherapist, and when I went to go see the psychotherapist, and it wasn't even like I went to go see a psychotherapist because I thought I needed therapy. I was there for business because I used to sell skincare products. So I was going to try to make a deal with the guy, like, you should have these products in your facility. It will work hand in hand with what you do. And he was like, do you know exactly what I do? And I was like, yes, you help people get better mentally.
Mentally, yeah.
Massage therapist portion of that, and I think this will work with this is that, talking my little game. And he was like, how about you come on this day and I'll give you a run through of what I do. And I was like, okay, so I come. He gave me this freaking survey thing, the analysis. It's just so many questions on it. It was like one piece of paper.
Yeah, one piece of paper.
Only like 13 questions, yes or no.
Yeah, sure.
I was boohoo crying by the 7th question.
What? It was one of those. It was that eye opening.
Yeah, I didn't know I had went through so much in a short period of time. It was like it was asking questions like, in the last 3 years did this happen? In the last 5 years did this happen? And it was like, have you lost a job? Have you went through a breakup? Have you experienced the death of a loved one? Was it a hostile or aggressive death? Did this happen? Have you lost a freaking dog? Like,
you don't. Sometimes you don't know what the condition that you're in until you ask yourself those questions, or you're asked those questions. We rarely do that. Everyone's too busy living day to day. Shout out to PhD, because we actually just had this conversation about therapy and just the questioning. Like, it's nothing wrong with that type of introspection.
Because it's like life goes on, right? And it's like I was a single mom, so it was like I have bills to pay, I have things to do. Like I had a drinking habit for a while because it was like I was trying to numb it. Like, so I was just in the mix. I was just in the mix, and I was just dealing with it. And it wasn't. I felt like I didn't have a place to complain too much or talk too much about one death when everybody's experiencing it. Like, we got the same homie that died, but then like a month later somebody else died. Like, and then somebody else granny died. Like, Young B died, and 2 months later my granny died. Man. And my family didn't understand why I was still grieving for him. It's like, you can't turn off a grief for another grief.
Right. I got to do it at the same time. It's concurrent.
Yeah,
right now.
It's like, he was 25, she was 90. Like, we had plans. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was over it. Like, this was different. But anyway.
So then you start to get into battling, and that's your form of release.
And I'm like, I found out I didn't deal with none of that shit. I didn't deal with none of that shit. So I appreciate that doctor, because then what he did for me, and this is what helped me down my meditation route and all of those things, because I had already went to massage school and I learned about energy, I learned about meditation, I've learned about these things, but I wasn't disciplined in my application. He helped me be disciplined in my application of that knowledge, because he hooked me up to this machine. And this is how I found out about alpha, beta, brain waves, and all of that, which I talked about in my battle versus street hymns. Yeah. So he taught me about the different brain waves, and then what brain waves you're healthy at, to where you have a clear mind, you can create, and you can be stress free, and you're pumping out more pleasure hormones and happy hormones than being depressed and having a cluttered mind. He called it ants on the brain, when you're thinking about 100 million things at one time and you're not in the moment.
Right.
So he put me up to this machine that put my pumped frequencies into my brain that brought me at a certain frequency. And I didn't feel anything. Like I would just feel like little stuff like this. Like it really didn't feel like too much of nothing. And he was just talking to me, and he was talking to me about what it does and this, that, and the other. And I'm listening. And then he stopped at one point and he said, "Have you noticed that this is the most focused that you probably have ever been in your life that you can remember?" Then he's like, "Have you noticed that you heard every word that came out of my mouth and thought of nothing else?" And I was like, "Oh shit." Because I'm known for daydreaming. Like I'm known for my mind going in different places from seeing something, because I'm very visual. So you'll say one thing and then I'll play a whole movie in my head that I created from that one thing. Like, and so it was like, whoa. So then he broke down to me about the importance of clarity, to focus and what that's like. So then I got into my meditation. And when I got into my meditation, and then I went through a whole life change with my living situation, because through my grief I lost my place. It was a whole lot
to deal with.
And I ended up living with one of my friends that was a vegan chef. And I ended up fasting and going vegan and meditating, and that's how I started having spiritual experiences. And through those spiritual experiences, it brought me to African spirituality. And then through the African spirituality, meeting different people and wanting to be a part of stopping the death of my people and my people killing themselves, and give more of that knowledge, I tied in with the Black Panther Party. So I started working and doing shit with them. And it was hard to even think about battle rap. So if you look at my battles during that time, like
I was gonna say,
it's like I'm just doing it just to do it, because it really was.
It took like it wasn't as frequent because you were actually working. But this influenced the rhymes though. Your work influenced the rhymes though, right? Like I can hear that.
It did, but my passion and my heart wasn't in it at that time, because I really didn't want to talk about killing you. I didn't want to talk about this and that. I was really doing it because beats would hit me and be like, "We need you, Finesse." Like, because the West Coast, like Queen and Ring, I just came to the West Coast. And we didn't have nobody. Like, I am the one of the first 3 females in West Coast history to ever battle rap ever in history.
Oh, talk your shit. Yeah, we gonna ISO that. Talk your shit. Yeah.
So like that's a fact. Like it's Looney. It's Looney Divine, AR-14, and SO Finesse. Then everybody else. You know what I mean? So we didn't have nobody. So when they needed females to rap, I had to rap on behalf of females. It wasn't even on behalf of myself. Like I really didn't care about being the best rapper. I cared about women having a presence of rapping at all. I was going through shit that I wasn't even ready to talk about in my rap shit. So I told myself I sat out like for a little bit, because after that I was stumbling through shit and it just wasn't in tune.
Right.
It's like, what do I want to do this shit? And I sat back one day and I was like, in order for me to do this shit, every time I do this shit, it gotta have some type of message. It gotta have some type of message, and I gotta tell my story, or I'm not being an artist. I'm not being real. I'm not relating to somebody who's supposed to relate with me, because that's what an artist is.
Talk.
Like an artist is a person with a voice. And the reason why we go through shit is because we're supposed to help somebody else that went through that shit. And if we're not being real with ourselves and speaking in our story, then what the fuck is we doing? We pretending to be somebody else, and that ain't our story to tell. It gotta be somebody, and somebody gotta relate with you. You know? So I was like, man, fuck that. Fuck what people think about me. Fuck with, they gonna talk about me in they raps. Like, talk about me in your raps. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm about to get my truth.
Yeah.
So I give something deep in every battle that somebody could probably angle the fuck out of me, and I don't even care.
And I told you this when I saw you in Atlanta. I rarely am able to send battles to my moms, right? Like, even when I go visit, they're like, "Put on the battle, Tone, put on the battle," you know? Like, I don't curse, like, we don't curse around moms like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, growing up, like, we didn't have that type of relationship. But the battle between you and B-Dot is one of those, right?
Yeah.
Is that where you fully started to embrace these other aspects of who you kind of were outside of this and bring that in, or was that just
it started to peak over the years? You know, I did my battle with Mary Jane Leaf. That was my first sparring session.
Right.
And in my first round, I made like little jokes, little stuff of, you know, dealing with not having sex because my man died. But making a joke out of it, you know. And then in my third, I talked about how the Black woman is the first person, is the mother of all. You know, and I was talking, I was battling Mary Jane Lee. Shout out to her.
Yeah, shout out to her.
I just played on the fact that sometimes, you know, white women, they be tripping, and and maybe it's because you feel like you are the diluted version. So that was my thing on that. And then I talked about I talked about astral projection and some of my spiritual stuff. Like I just started like throwing little stuff in there for bars and just trying to, you know, play with the content, see if they get it, you know. And then my next battle, I went viral versus Trav Uncut. Not on YouTube, but on Facebook. Like it got like millions of views, a clip, and I was teaching about what the Unk was and what that meant, the eternal life. Yeah. Talking about how the Chinese people brought the gunpowder and the guns, and that's how the white people got the guns, and that helped them, you know, enslave us. And so I started to teach about that because that was around the time like I was really starting to learn. Right. So I was regurgitating different things that I was learning.
Did you expect that? Did you expect that there was such a hunger for that? Because at the time, there's such a hunger for that knowledge now, which I think is so dope. Are people starting to embrace that? But when you were doing that, it wasn't in vogue really to be that. I feel like, you know what I'm saying?
And shout out to Snoop Dogg, because right after it never dropped because he ended up not doing the show because something happened behind the scenes with the people the platform that he was going to be dropping the shows on, but he really wanted to push the West Coast. Sure. So I was on the second episode and only the first episode ended up dropping or whatever. But he told me afterwards, like, because I was really spitting, I was giving game, and shout out to KO because he was the victim that day. It was like a legendary battle, like for real. Talk about that battle for years, and I got respect on the West Coast from that battle because I did my shit in front of Snoop Dogg, and I was sunning him. Like I was really talking to him about some shit, like what I was doing when I was his age and what he needed to be doing. Like I came from a real place, and that was my first time doing that. And Snoop told me, like, man, like you different. Like keep doing what you're doing. Like I'm gonna put something behind you. Like
that type of stamp is different, Uncle Snoop. And I know he came up cool too. He people say Snoop is one of them people whose voice sounds exactly what you think is gonna sound like. He don't, you know what I'm saying? You know how you meet some famous people, you're like, wait a minute, Usher's voice kind of high.
Cool,
what the hell is that?
He was super cool. And I think he like really fucked with me and like some of my homegirls I brought that day because we was probably some of the only people that wasn't like kissing his ass in that room. You know, like people was like hovering around him.
Right. Trying to get the energy.
Blunt, hoping to pass it to him. Like
right.
In the cut smoking and talking about the battle. Like we was on some other shit. And he came to us. And he was like, these your homegirls.
Hey.
And I'm like,
how he came up? How Snoop came up?
He came up. He was like, yeah, so these your homegirl? And I was like, yeah, these my girl. What do? And then he just started like talking to me about. He talked to me about the back end and stuff that happened with what was it called? Gladiator School. And things he learned from that and what he would do different. And like different girls he already liked from Queen of the Ring and who he wanted me to go against. Like he was really cool. He was like, niece, I got you. Like whoop. But he went through something with I think it was called Trapflix. And he was supposed to be pumping content through Trapflix, and it was supposed to be like, you know, our hood Netflix, like, you know.
Yeah. It was gonna be it was gonna okay, sure.
But yeah, that business deal behind the scenes just didn't work out. So that was that. But that was a motivation for me at that time, and that was a part of my growing experience. And I gotta stand from the brat, you know, my first Queen of the Ring battle. Like she was like, you talking that shit. And like, so I really just I was planting stuff. But when I battled Emerson Kennedy,
yes,
that was my transformative
different type of hunger, different energy. Yeah. I need to understand the motivation now, right now.
My whole psychology and why lead it into my Street Hymns battle and the difference. So when they booked Emerson Kennedy, when I got booked for Emerson Kennedy, I was like shitting bricks. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, damn, like this is a real like opponent right here. Like in the talks on the West, like he had just battled like Jada Nightwing and like something else. He was on a run, and everybody's like, hey, EK is an alien. He's unbeatable.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh. And then, like when the flyer dropped, like people was like, oh, it's gonna be good, but rest in peace, Finesse. Like, you know,
you in trouble. Yeah.
Man, I've never been attacked like that by fans. Like, they was all in my inbox, like, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wait a minute.
Like, man, like,
what they said?
People was betting like against me in front of me and shit. Like, I'm like, what? Like, they try to bet me in my inbox. Like, they was like, it's nice knowing you. Like, but you know, at least if you do good, you'll be okay. It'll still be kind of a win. Like, it was bad. Like, I would be on the phone with my homies, and that like they be talking about their battles coming up and this and that, and spitting me some bars and stuff. And I was like, okay, like I got this. So I'm thinking about doing this and this for EK or whatever. And it just goes silent.
Oh, that cold silence after you say your round?
No, not my rounds.
After you say a concept?
Just bringing up the battle, period.
Oh, no.
Like, just silence, like, poor Finesse.
Wow.
Like, poor Finesse.
Wow.
You know? And mind you, like, this was like one of my first battles right after the little clip with Coffee and like all that little shit and all of that. So it's like you had stuff to work with, you know? And it brought me to a space where it was just like, and this is in my hometown. Like, we got to battle in my hometown.
Carson versus everybody, right?
Yeah. So it was like I came to a place of realization and understanding, and it was like, man, fuck what everybody got to say, fuck what everybody think, and you know what? Fuck whatever he gonna say to me. Like, I'm about to dig deep into my fucking soul and talk about whatever the hell come out, and then I'm gonna relate it to him. And then I just watched all his battles, and then I just talked to him about his battles, and talked to him about him, and talked to him about my life, uncensored. Uncensored. I talked about shit in there that will probably eat me up later. Like, you know, I talked about
it was very honest and transparent. I agree.
Yeah,
totally.
I was transparent because I had to be. It's like nothing that you can say to me is worse than what I could tell myself and what I already been through. Talk to me then. Fuck it. I'm gonna give you everything I've got, and either it's gonna make everything I gotta say gonna make what you gotta say not matter, or it don't matter. I'm gonna be proud of myself when I get through this shit because nigga, this shit hard.
Yeah.
I didn't expect
that's the speech I'm gonna give myself next time I gotta do a presentation at the office. Like I talk like a battler before I do. Like, this shit, it's about to be one of them ones, bro.
It's just like I'm gonna give my best of my best. Like, and that's what everything. Because normally before that battle, I was finishing my rounds like 2 days before my battles and shit like that, and then expecting it to be good. Like, and it was good, and I was still like winning or like making debatables, and like it was just like nah. But with him, it was like I gotta finish this shit. Like, I can't have no stumbles. Like,
yeah.
Like, so I finished like. For real. So I finished weeks before, and I just wanted to make sure I was calm and I was poised, and I just got out everything that I needed to say, and it was fluent and how I said it, and my rhythms that I utilized, and everything was on point.
It was
and
working.
I told myself, and EK said it, everybody in the room said it, they said I 3-0 him. Never thought that would ever be something coming out of that battle. I just went to not die.
Yeah.
That was my whole thing. Like, I just don't want to embarrassingly die.
Now I'm up against the clock here, so I am.
Okay.
I want to, but see, here's the thing though. We gotta do this again because everybody in the joint is liking your energy and everything like that. We gotta sync up again at some point. But what I want to do though is I want you to, you know what I mean? You could talk about the Street Hymns battle as well, but tell the people how to follow you and things like that. I want to get to that as well. You know what I'm saying? Because I do think, like, this is what I think. I learned so much about you from this that now I have a better appreciation for your content. You know what I'm saying? Like, understanding this, like, this was dope. You know, I got my battle rap questions. Yo, who do you think won this and all that? I don't care about that. The script was thrown away on this one. And thank you so much, because that Snoop Dogg story, show homegirls, like, yeah, I can see that. You know what I mean? But now I'm gonna give you the ISO. Talk to the people for a minute, and you know what I mean. Let them know how to find you. Tell them about your recent battle, Street Hymns, and then we're gonna get up
my most recent battle is versus Street Hymns. So Sistar Outspoken versus Street Hymns. Check it out. I still want everybody to still go check out my beat out battle, because that was something that we did for the people during a time where we were being killed by the police. So we needed to have that black woman and that black man love, and that talk, and that bringing that together, because it starts with the family and the foundation of life. And then Dre Vicious, you know, he proposed to his girl. So that's that love. That's that black love. So go ahead and go support that. My new book is out. My poetry book. I don't know if you can see it. Life Outspoken.
Life Outspoken.
And these are poems kind of telling a story vaguely of different things I went through in life that will be featured on my novel that's coming out. That's going to be way more descriptive and talking about the lessons that I learned in life. But these are some poems that'll be featured in it. So you might want to check that out. And it's sistaroutspoken.com. You can also find it on Amazon. If you type in Sistar Outspoken, Life Outspoken, and you can find me on Twitter. Sistar Outspoken. They won't let me change my name. So it's SISTA Outspoken on Twitter, and Sistar Outspoken _official on Instagram. And peace and love, y'all. Thank you to anybody who's been supporting me this far. It's been a journey. I am not perfect. I never try to claim to be perfect. I am a growing person. The patience that you see me even have with the bullshit, it was a learned thing. And I'm proud of myself for that. The patience that I've been able to have lately with people and with situations, because I was not that person, not even 2 years ago, not 3 years ago, especially not 5 years ago. And the knowledge that I have now, I did not have, and I'm learning to apply it and be of what I speak. And it's not easy. You know, I fall short a lot of times, so be okay with that when y'all fall short. You know what I mean? We're not perfect out here, but we're trying every day. We're trying to be better, and that's what it's about. And for the artists, be your truth. Be your truth, because it's somebody that you're supposed to speak for, and you go through what you go through so that they can know that they're not alone. So that's it. Man, that's it.
That was hard right there. I appreciate that. SO, Sistar Outspoken, I appreciate you. This was dope. Yeah. I'm going to rewatch this, and I hate rewatching stuff because I hate my own voice sometimes, but I'm going to rewatch this just for the gems that you dropped during this whole joint. So I appreciate you. Salute to your grind. We got to get you back up here and stay safe on the West. All right.
Yeah, just hit me up. Well, I'm gonna be dropping something soon. Me and Street Hymns have actually been flown out this weekend. Dope. We're gonna be on a show talking about our journeys with him with Christianity, me and African spirituality, and how that comes together. That's so I'll definitely be sharing that, because I'm definitely a part of the movement of bringing Black people together, no matter what your religious backgrounds are, because that's stupid. And we have to operate in truth. It all has truth in it. We got way bigger things that we got to deal with than that. So let's get it right.
So Finesse, formerly, now Sistar Outspoken, currently. Sistar. Thank you so much. Sistar. All right. Tone, bro, Black Umbers Media. Stick around. Shout out to SO. Shout out to Sistar Outspoken. Make sure y'all follow her and everything like that. Don't go very far. We got the wolf coming through next. All right. Tone, bro, Black Umbers Media. I'm up out of here. Peace.